Alice, you have a minute? I just wanted to say that I feel really proud and excited to be working with you.
Don't expect too much.
No, I'm convinced that this plant is going to be a huge success.
If you say so.
Would you... How about a drink after work?
Oh, no, I have to run. Could you finish the logbook and double-check the timing of the grow lamps? That'd be so nice of you.
Sure.
So that's a clip from Little Joe, and I'm delighted to say that we've been joined for the first time on the programme by Ben Whishaw. Hello, Ben. How are you?
I'm very well. Nice to be here.
We've waited so long.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, we've talked about you incessantly for decades. Anyway, so where do we find you? How has the last weird few months been for you? Have you found it creative? Have you found it disturbing? What?
I'm in my house in Bethnal Green. I've found it not very creative, honestly, and quite disturbing. And currently, I just generally feel quite tired all the time. I'd say that's sort of where I'm at.
Yeah, and maybe it's more tiring than the fact that people expect you to be coming up with script ideas and new projects and all that kind of stuff. And actually, a lot of people have found it very difficult. Before we actually ask you about Little Joe, can I just say, I mentioned this earlier on in the programme, that I came to see you in Julius Caesar, which feels like an eternity ago. Were you? And I mentioned how the strange kind of staging and how the crowd move around and then people faint and all that kind of stuff. Were you aware of this of fans of yours sort of following your stage? Even though there's lots of action happening everywhere, that you seem to have a group of fans who followed you around the action. Did you notice that?
Oh God, no, I didn't, and I've got quite good at blanking people out, even when they're pressed up against the stage like they were in that particular production. I only became aware that there were fans in afterwards when I went out into the foyer or whatever afterwards. But no, thank God, I was
Okay.
blissfully unaware.
All right, because it was like old editions of Top of the Pops. That's what it was like. Anyway, but that could have been just me. Anyway, let's talk about Little Joe. Tell us, how would you describe it? Explain what Little Joe is and where you fit into this story, Ben.
Well, Little Joe is a plant, a genetically engineered plant, and its scent is designed to make people feel happy. And it's been created by a scientist called Alice Woodard, and she's played brilliantly by Emily Beecham. And my character, Chris, is her colleague, and they work together to design this strange plant. And then over the course of the film, what happens is that another scientist in the laboratory, played by amazing Kerry Fox, raises the possibility that actually Little Joe is infecting people, kind of invading their brains and making them work for it so that it can propagate itself, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and which is all very fascinating. And you are, I think you're pretty creepy, aren't you? Sinister,
Yes.
definitely.
I just actually rewatched the film today because it was 2 years ago, strangely, that we shot it. And I thought I needed to refresh my memory. And I was surprised by just how creepy and disturbing and unpleasant I was in it. Yeah.
Yeah, you are. You kind of, in a very kind of low-key, passive kind of way, but you're definitely not someone to hang out with. Can
No.
I, just before Mark comes in, can you explain in a little bit more detail, how does the plant actually change you? What does it, you said it makes you happy, but anyone would think, well, that's a good thing. What does it, when you inhale whatever it is that the plant is giving you. What is the film saying it does to you?
Well, I guess it's saying that the plant is a sort of plant form antidepressant. So it just alters your mood. You care for the plant, you talk to the plant, and in return, the plant gives you a happy, contented feeling. Um, but the fear is that it's invading people and making them not themselves. And everyone at some point in the film is very fearful that someone close to them has been taken over by the plant and is no longer the person that they were believed once to be.
Okay, right, Mark. Okay, I got that.
I mean, my feeling about it is that I love the film. I saw it when I was in the European Fantasy Film Festival in Strasbourg, where it was an award winner, and I just thought it was terrific. The thing I really love about it, so it's Jessica Hausner who made it, who made Lords and Amour Fou, and I think at the centre of it there is a great ambiguity. That question that you asked, Simon, about what is the plant doing. The point is you never actually know. One of the things it reminded me of is that there's a line in the original Jack Finney novel of Body Snatchers in which somebody is saying that they think that somebody very close to them has been replaced by an alien version. And they say that at one point he goes to have his hair cut and he says, and he had a scar. And the doctor says, what, you mean now the scar's gone? She said, no, the scar is still there. That's the point. One of the great things about Little Joe is it never really tells you exactly whether this whole thing is a kind of paranoid delusion, whether Kerry Fox's character is overreacting, whether the character that Ben plays is actually as creepy and sinister as his manner suggests, or whether what he's saying is actually, and I think that the genius of the film, and I loved it. I've seen it 3 times now. I absolutely loved it. The genius of the film is that you can read it in a number of different ways and it still works. And I mean, I think the thing that I find most fascinating is I can't imagine what it must have been like being on set, because Jessica Hausner directs everything with such precision. I mean, there isn't an accidental moment in that film. And what was it like being directed by her? Because it's directed with such clinical precision.
Yeah, I'm pleased that you pick up on that, because that's one of the things that I love about it when I watch it too, because there's nothing in the frame that's not been scrutinized to the nth degree, even the tiniest detail, every color, every gesture, every expression. So it was quite taxing working with her, because you just start filming and do many takes, and Jessica just loads in more details of things that she wants to have present, and you introduce them. And often she doesn't do many setups. So you'd arrive on set every morning and get the call sheet. And I've never had this before, but by the scene that you're doing that day, it also told you how many setups you'd be doing of that scene. And often it was very few, just 1, 2, 3. So you don't have, often on films, things are sort of covered. You get coverage of the film,
Yeah.
of the scene to death. It's shot from this angle, that angle, behind someone's head, under the table, and it wasn't like that. So you only have a few opportunities to get it right. So there's a sort of tension and a sort of focus that comes about through her absolute precision, which finally I really loved, actually. And I just adored her. I found her so eccentric and uncompromising. She was wonderful.
When you said you said finally, I loved it. It suggests that there was quite a journey on the process to
Yeah.
finally coming to that conclusion.
Yeah, definitely, because it was so different to how I'd worked before. Although I'd worked with other people who are as demanding in different ways. But I guess it was just it's like anything. You have to sort of learn what's being asked of you on that particular
Yeah.
job, and it took me a while, I suppose, to understand. Yeah.
I'm intrigued by how you decide the projects that you're going to get involved with, Ben, because as I said, we haven't spoken to you before, but we've talked about you incessantly. So whether it be Paddington or David Copperfield or Mary Poppins Returns, Bond, whatever it is, there is still like an indie heart beating there. And I was watching an interview that you done with A. Neil Carrier about the movie Surge,
Mm,
which I'm still looking forward to seeing, and that looked like a very, very interesting and indie project. You know, so
mm.
you've got these both sides of your career running at the same time. What was it about this that made you think, okay, this is going to be my next little project here?
Well, I got sent the script, and I read the script, and I guess I always start with that, since that's the obvious place to start. And I thought the script was um, strange and
Yes.
disturbing. It was because, as you were saying, Mark, you never know if anything at all is actually going on in the film, or whether it's all happening in the kind of disturbed minds of the people in the story. And I was very intrigued by that, but at the same time had absolutely no idea if it could be pulled off. And at the time, I didn't know Jessica's work. So after I put the script down, I downloaded a film of hers called Lourdes,
Mm.
and I watched Lourdes, and it was just incredible, and my mind was blown. And I thought, this is a really rare artist. And then I had a meeting with her, and she was incredibly sweet, and I felt immediately comfortable with her, and I just said, I would love to do your film.
One of the most remarkable things about
Choice to make. Hello.
Hi, sorry, we had a little drop out there. Sorry, Ben.
Oh,
You
okay.
got as far as you've got as far as saying you said I would love to do your film, and then we lost you. You going to pick up from there?
Yeah, and I said I would love to do your film, and so it was an incredibly easy decision to make. I guess, yeah. You go on a feeling of what is exciting, and also more and more, what if someone has a really uh, unique vision. I do think that particularly gets me excited.
One of the things about the film that obviously you won't have seen when you were on set is the music, and watching it, because it uses the music of Teiji Ito, which is so strange and so kind of odd and alarming. And of course, we heard Teiji Ito's music and the films of Maya Deren,
Mm.
and there's tracks from Watermill in there, and I think it was the most audacious use of music I've heard in ages. Did you have any idea that that was what was going to be used to accompany Little Joe?
I didn't. I had no idea, and I think actually Jessica didn't know, and may have been considering other options. But then we came to do some ADR, and she told me that she had found this composer who, yeah, as you say, wrote for. I think maybe he was married to
Married
Maya
to, yeah.
Deren. Yeah, Teiji Ito, and then I heard it when I saw the film last summer, and I just thought it was a brilliant choice. Because it sits slightly at odds often with what it is you're seeing. It doesn't. It's not an accompaniment or a kind of guide to how you should feel always. Sometimes there are sort of dogs barking and
Yeah.
strange whistle sounds, and it's. And I read in an interview that Jessica did that she liked it because it was kind of irritating, which I also thought was a brilliant and hilarious thing to say.
That means it's the kind of thing that Mark will be singularly attracted to and will play it
Yes.
on his radio show. And just in our limited final couple of moments, the questions that I have to ask you. Do you know that is Bond definitely November? Do you have any clue about that, or are you in the dark as anybody else?
Yeah, I'm completely in the dark. Nobody tells me anything.
But you're
I,
Q.
I know, I'm not even lying because I have to lie. I genuinely do not know anything. I read somewhere or someone told me that it might be pushed back. I don't know. I mean, we're all in the dark, aren't we, as to
Yes.
when things will open up. I mean, cinemas are opening up again. Is that right? Or starting to, or
They're
about to? Or...
starting to, but it's happening rather sporadically, and
Yeah,
some things that were meant to be opening haven't opened. Everything is shifting around. But I mean, Bond
Yes.
is November, isn't it? So we're still
yeah,
some time away from it. Should theoretically be in a safe zone by then.
yeah.
And
Let's
just
hope
because
so.
I have to ask, Mary Poppins,
Yeah.
possibly more.
Oh, I don't think so. I think I don't think there should be too many sequels. I think that would take away the magic. Maybe maybe in way into the future, but I'll be gone by then. I think.
Oh, really? Right, so in 80 years.
Yeah,
And
80 years. I think about right. Yeah.
Paddington?
Now I definitely know that there's a Paddington coming, but again, I think it's been delayed, pushed into the future by COVID, and I again don't know any details. But I am one thing I have done. The only vaguely creative thing I've done is to do the voice of Paddington, because I now do the voice of Paddington for a series on Nickelodeon. So that's ongoing. Yep.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, they're the contractual obligation questions, but thanks very much indeed, Ben, for coming on to talk about Little Joe, and we really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
you spending some time with us. Thank you so much.
It's lovely to talk to you.